Hello everyone, it's Friday night and it is time for the Weekender once again. And we dive into the wonderful world of wargaming this week with Warcrow, Warhammer and Warmachine. On top of that, one backer will get a chance to win the Adventurers Deluxe pledge from Lorefoundry's Lorescape Kickstarter. To be in with a chance to win, you need to be a backer. Comment on this video over at OnTabletop.com with I am a backer and put your backer number in as well. Now sit back, relax, because your weekend starts here. Hello everybody and welcome to the Weekender. This week, Ben and Justin are joining me for a chat about hobby. But before we get into that, a couple of things. Big things, huge things, immense things, massive, substantial things.
Are they girthy things?
First thing is we'll be looking at the winners of Train Fest very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that if you want to know if you were a winner over the wintry months. But more importantly, and for those who didn't complete the Train Fest, here's an ideal opportunity. The Spring Clean Challenge will be kicking off on the 21st, technically the second day of spring.
Oh my God.
Kind of everything. It's Friday, 2 weeks' time.
There you go.
There'll be more about it on that weekend's Weekender. Many uses the word weekend there. So if you want
you did good, England.
If you want to go and dust off some old projects, fantastic. If you want to start a new project with some dusty miniatures, better again. I discovered the other day that I've got some Star Wars Crisis Protocol comic book edition miniatures that are incredibly dusty. Very, very dusty indeed. There's no grey on this.
Yeah.
That's all dusty. It's actually really deep blue.
Dusty for me is I need to finish up mine orcs.
There you go.
Sporks.
Yeah.
Just throw a load of wash over the top of them. Just tone the ever-living bejesus out of them when they're done.
Oh no, I do that and then I give it a dry brush with the rust effect. Dry brush.
There you go. Yeah.
Rusty greenskins.
Oh yeah.
You're odd, Mr. Man.
Rusty griminess.
I know they're fungus, but surely they don't rust. How much iron do you need in your system to rust? Anyway, so yes, plenty of hobby, fun and games coming up over the next 3 months.
Yeah.
That'll keep you ticking over. We'll just come back from UKG and all the spring will be done.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Before that, we will, of course, be at Salute.
We will. Yeah. Attention. So yes, we'll be there doing our thing, which will be cool. So,
yeah, although there's one. What are folks looking forward to? Is there anything coming at Salute this year, I wonder? Comments below.
Buying stuff. Guards of Traitors Toll.
Oh no, of course. Although the nice one is this year I get to be home for my birthday because it's right after Salute.
There you go. Also, new Burrows and Badges starter set will be out as well. So
of course.
Guards should be out beforehand.
It will be.
The files went to the printer this morning.
Yeah.
That's
so
I'm going to buy it there, take it home on the train and annoy everyone around me.
I mean, they do that £105 bundle. That's just everything. And it's just like,
yes.
Gimme.
Nice.
Going to be a lovely time.
Can you hear that? It's the sound of me tapping the miniatures.
And of course, we'll have to stop off with the multi-award-winning Moonstone.
I'm sure there's more stuff coming out for that as well, yeah.
There is. Yeah. There's some new shades coming as well.
Salute's one of my favourites because there are so many good releases at it just to catch up with folks.
Yes.
And of course, hopefully Ronnie might have Walking Dead then.
I'm not really going to be paying any attention to any of the vendors if I can.
Tables, all the lovely shiny tables.
Yes. Yeah. See what people have been up to. See what games clubs have been designing.
I wasn't even talking video content. I'm just making a shopping list.
Oh yeah, no. Again, don't care. So many people are connected by the medium of the internet these days.
Oh, I don't know. There's something nice about that instant gratification of going, yes, I have it. It's mine. I regret everything.
I don't think the internet will catch on, to be honest. So.
It's, as the head of IBM said, home computers. Not really seeing many people picking those up in the next 20 years.
I'm doing this on an Acorn. I don't know what you
anyway.
Well, we're in Ireland. Clearly, the router's a potato.
I think you'll find, as we've all learned from how the internet is made, that it gets harvested and washed and then hand-stamped by Bill Gates before it gets blessed and then sent to the houses.
Yes.
And if people haven't seen how the internet is made, it's one for you to Google. Right, enough of this gay banter. We shall press on with the news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
First off this week, into the wonderful world of science fiction from Corvus Belli.
Yes.
Fantastic, great.
Super fantastic, great. Lots of fun stuff coming up for the world of Infinity. There is a brand new action pack on the way for those folks who are going to be diving in and supporting Jing in their endeavors across the human sphere and perhaps beyond as well. So this is the new Imperial Service action pack, which comes with a whole host of revamped and updated miniatures for Jing, and also serves as a really great entry point for somebody who wants to dive in and start playing Infinity as Jing. So the set comes with those gorgeous yellow armored soldiers. For anyone who doesn't know about the Imperial Service, drawn from all echelons of Jing's civilization. So it's not just your kind of elite soldiers and all that kind of stuff, your special agents. There's also plenty of other soldiers that have been dragged off the street, criminals and all sorts of things. Everyone must serve to maintain Jing's authority across the system.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah. So in this set, you're going to get, and you can see some of them here obviously as well, 3 Celestial Guards with their combi rifles, an Imperial Agent Crane rank with their HMG, the Imperial Agent Pheasant rank with the Red Fury, the one Bayara with the light shotgun, which you saw was that gorgeous miniature that Justin was so excited about.
Desire to know more intensifies.
Insert fry meme. One Koga Ninja, and also the Jin Yao drop unit as well in there with the drop, with the boarding shotgun. So a pretty diverse set for those people who want to get started with Jing. And it also kind of like gives you enough there for you to start playing and then start to build out of the one box, which I think is quite a nice thing. So you've got a few different options in there depending on the size of games you're going to be playing when it comes to Infinity. But gorgeous stuff.
Don't know who he is. We need to round in the back of the head. JSA.
Oh no! See, where's the other two? Big Trouble in Little Chinatown.
Yeah.
But a couple of key points for these boxes. So, number one, Infinity have started doing something that I absolutely adore. In the box, you're getting stat cards, and you're also getting weapon profile cards. So, no more flicking through books to try and hunt down all your stats and your specials.
That's cool.
Obviously, like some of the keyword stuff you'll have to hunt down, but it makes the reference of it so much easier. Secondly, the sculpts. So, I unboxed one of these recently, and the way they've actually cut down the sculpts on these, big, nice, clean areas for all of your super glue to actually grab and bond to.
Very nice.
Building these is so much easier than what it used to be.
Oh, that's good. I was tired of sticking fins into the back of Pan-Oceania troops. That was a pain in the bum.
The antennas with less than a millimeter. Way back in the long ago.
I stuck more of them to my fingers than I did to the miniatures. So.
I mean, that said, I still managed to glue myself to myself, but that's me.
That's part of the course, right?
Well, it's just my skill set.
As well as that, we also have a sort of bonus miniature that's been added into the mix for Jing. So this is the Long Wang Imperial Tag Police unit. The thing that I really liked about this is I like the compact nature of it. It seems a little bit more tactical. I mean, obviously, it's something to do with the pose there as well as everything, because you could have it with arms akimbo and all sorts of things. But I really like that it kind of fits that sort of, as they said, sort of like police vibe. So you could see one of these kind of stomping down the street somewhere in, a town somewhere within the Jing provinces or something like that. Looking to hunt down criminals and all sorts of things, maybe even as a criminal inside it. Who knows?
I mean, one of the design aspects I always love from these, there's an old show, if you've ever seen it, Appleseed, where it's that that mirroring of the tiny arms that are coming out from where the pilot is, out to the big arms, so it actually makes sense as a control system.
Yeah, he's got his strong hand, but yes, a good little miniature to add onto the side of that.
That reference I got.
Yeah, pre-orders for this will be coming up very, very soon. They're already out there from a variety of different independent stockists if you're excited about that. But Corvus Belli will also be having their own ones as well. I do believe there's going to be like a special miniature that will come as part of that pre-order bundle, but we'll talk about that when we get a few more images and things from Corvus Belli for that one. But coming very, very soon. Look for it kind of like March, April time around Adepticon. You'll be able to get your hands on that for yourself. Mm-hmm. So yeah, very nice.
I do like what they've done. I mean, obviously, since the JSA left, they're not quite as super fantastic and or great as they used to be.
Independence!
The
JSA liberated
they're all right.
Yes.
I suppose. Yeah. If you like that sort of thing. That ninja still does need a shot in the back of the head, man. for not joining with the rest of the guys and having all the fun. But pressing on, but sticking with Corvus Belli.
Yes.
There has been some new bits and pieces revealed for Warcrow, not adventures, but the actual tabletop miniatures game itself. Yeah. And this is everybody's favourite, racist elves.
I'm expecting brutal, broken magic out of these guys.
I mean, magic is certainly a part of the Syenann, but they really seem to be laying into the guerrilla tactics, guerrilla fighters.
Yeah.
So they were initially part of a massive elven host, the Radiants of Life, who went up against essentially the elves who had gone off on one, Dark Masters who'd been creeping around millennia previous. And after that massive war was fought, these guys went and founded their homes in great forests across Lindverm. And then over time, they've sort of gone from being your stereotypical elves to becoming more sort of attuned in nature. The Syenann have trees, the Senna, that they protect and look after, and sort of villages or little groups within there have their own area that they protect and guard against. As you can see, there will be a big miniature as well with this. But so far, the Syenann action pack contains enough to get you started into Warcrow adventures if you fancy playing the elves themselves. And they really lay into the aspect of wood elves, forest
Very
dwellers
so.
who craft their stuff in tune with nature. They're weaving together leaves, branches, bark, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of sort of greenery involved, up to and including sort of a lot of ropage going on. So they have this sort of crafted feel for all intents and purposes. The figures themselves are absolutely stunning.
Gorgeous.
I imagine these will be done in the Corvus Belli. I think
the resin
resin, but don't hold me to that. They're updated resin mix for CO cast, so sprueless plastic, really good defined detail on them, which is going to be really important when you've got so much going on. The whole host of bits and pieces in here, as you've seen from the sort of the little trailer going past. For some reason, the druid's just called Druid.
Yeah, he doesn't have a fancy name.
Call us Spade.
Considering how Celtic inspired they are, across the board, naming and everything else, I would have thought, throw them in there, call them Cathbad, and move on with your life.
I think my favorite is the one dude who's just wearing the potion vials as if they're like a grenade bandolier.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a million miles away from it. Even down to his weapon there. It has a very bardic feel to him as well.
It does.
But they have a real hit and run feel to things with the force, and that sort of expanded upon with the additional box, the Grove Curtailers. And these have Peter Pan and Neverland feel to them.
They do.
They've all got leaf hats,
those leaf hats
and stuff. Yeah. And again, really evocative of the idea of hit and run tactics, but being at one with nature. The great fog that's pushing in through Lindworm and trying to sort of subsume whole parts of the continent has until now been unable to broach great forests that the Syenann kick around in. However, there's one particular grove that has started to see sort of cracks develop and tendrils of smoke coming in. So they're on the back foot, and that's led to the point where the elves have stopped being isolationist and protecting the insides of the forest, because filth like the Embersig have been trying to push in there, and they've got to the north the Mount Haven dwarves who just want to level it all because, good mining under there, and look at all those trees we could use for fuel. But now they're actually going, you know what? We're fed up with everybody else in this continent, and come and have a go. So they've started to push warbands out to be a bit more proactive in their, let's put it down as an aggressive defense. So they're pushing out and beyond the current realms of the forests.
I was thinking they should have probably just called these the Gardeners, and then you could have had one of them looking like Jason Statham in one of his movies, where he has a really innocuous job, but he's actually
like
an
the
assassin.
beekeeper.
Yeah, like the beekeeper. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, they're not a million miles away from that.
The old theory holds true. Jason Statham doesn't get hired for movies. He just wanders onto set and starts beating people up, and then they build the movie around that because, he's doing work anyway. Let's just make something out of it.
I'm a beekeeper now.
I mean, that was going to be a nature documentary.
Yeah, there we go.
We've all seen him dance.
I would love to see. Obviously, they've painted these in kind of like green spring summer feel.
You're thinking
imagine these
tones.
in autumn tones. Yeah.
Reds, oranges, and yellows. Yeah,
that could be very interesting.
Be
Although I wonder if we'll see releases where Corvus Belli will actually tune something more towards that autumn season, a unit that's got more of that autumn vibe to it.
That could be interesting.
It's possible. What they might do is the forest that's being lost to the fog. The warband who still have to, because they can't travel far from their little groves and trees that they protect for long before they have to go back to sort of be rejuvenated. So it's entirely possible that maybe they might get a particularly spooky, creepier feel. Because they're under the cosh, so to speak.
That loss of energy, the rotting because they don't have it to get it back.
Ooh. So time will tell how they go. But it's a really nice take on forest dwelling elves beyond the sort of standard. So far, we've only really seen the traders who've run off to Empress. So it's nice to see these.
Dastardly
they're still they are listed as the traders.
Will Empress become the Pan-Oceania of Warcrow, where everyone's just like Empress?
I mean, they pretty much have already, have they not?
I guess so. Yeah,
I think they're already on par for that. But if you pre-order, you'll get the Great Captain. But obviously, you can pick up just the action pack and the expansion, the curtailers. Separately if you want. Although, I mean, why would you not want a great captain? He's not just a captain.
He's great.
He's great.
It's pretty. It says it in the name. Yeah.
It makes sense to me. So fantastic stuff there from Corvus Belli for Warcrow. It's always worth checking what has been up to because that is her baby. Although, obviously, she's very much waiting to see the Yaldabaoth come bounding across the fields covered in inky blackness.
Yes.
In double quick fashion. And I've had a look at the cards for those for Warcrow. And they are interesting. So
you tease.
Might have to get those on the table in the not too distant future. Of course, we'll have to paint up some forces first for the studio, but these things.
Summon a John.
I think there may be a bit of a ruckus between John and myself as to which one gets to paint what. We'll see how things pan out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, between myself, John, and Shay, we are pushing on with studio armies.
Yes, but I want these to look nice.
Shot fired.
I think John would agree. Right. Speaking of pushing on with stuff, what is coming from the Steamy Forge?
Honestly, what's coming from Steamy Forge is one of my favorite factions is seeing some new miniatures. So we're getting a new subfaction for the Cygnar forces in Warmachine. These are the Gravediggers. So we have 2 boxes, and our first one is a classic styled battle group. So let me just make sure I get the names right. So our first one is the Warcaster, Cynthia Sin Roscoe, who, funnily enough, is the daughter of Alistair Kane. They've been very specific about saying that, so I'm wondering, is she going to have a similar feel and play style to him?
Following in his gun mage roots, apparently, there. So,
yeah. As well as that, you've got a heavy jack and a light jack, so you've got the Valiant and the Patriot sitting there as well. So doing what Cygnar does best, shooty, you die now. And you also get yourself a big ammo crate on there as well. The miniatures look great. This is going to be coming out in the resin, and it will have the head and arm swap options for the warjacks, which is important. So you're going to have a bit of flexibility with this. So I think they look fantastic, and they've got that like old school trencher feel to them. You know,
they do.
We are not the highfalutin, magical electrical users. No, we are grind and pound heavy shells, laying landmines, putting in a day's work.
Yeah, it's definitely a really nice twist and change from the Storm Legion stuff that we'd seen initially released for them, which is kind of classically Cygnar, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's in the box? Is it
ammo?
It's a head.
I believe it's an ammo box.
Just checking.
It's Schrodinger's ammo. No one knows exactly.
Is it fired or is it not? You have to open up to find out.
I'm assuming it has game purposes because they don't generally stick random stuff in.
Yeah, so they're called airdrops, I believe, for the Gravediggers. Okay. I'm not exactly sure how they work in game.
So it's like the powers and the bridge too far. Yeah. People dropping additional stuff.
Yeah. Well, as well as this, we're also getting a second box, which is the Command Starter Set. So we have another Warcaster in here, Captain Buck Hasker, who is looking very nice down there on the right, I believe is the one he is.
I think so, yeah.
We then get a character warjack in here as well, which is Plugger. So, I mean, big fighting knives, twin guns on top. You're expecting a lot of firepower coming out of this. We then have the unit, which is the Rowdies. So, obviously, these guys are, just out there fighting in the backwoods. They don't really care for society.
There's a troll blood mercenary in the back as well. Which is
well, the troll blood is the one I'm probably going to struggle with his name. Brunach Bruno Ramjaw.
There you go.
Not to be confused with Roger Ramjet. He has a very similar jaw.
Yeah, well.
There's another one for the kids.
Yeah, you've also got 2 more airdrops in there. So you've got a medical supply box and another ammo box. Interestingly, our Warcaster, I believe, is laying down some minefields, which could be very good for some table control on this one. This is one thing that I've always loved about Warmachine is you're always looking to apply pressure tactically around the table to deny your opponent the ability to move through a certain area, or you're pushing up and then have to close off a gap so you don't take a charge from the side. Yeah. So having these kind of abilities, I think is going to be very interesting once we get a look at the rules.
Very true. I quite like that they've continued with the vein of sort of modern Warmachine boxed set design where there's no duplication between the two. So if you wanted to get in and start just very, very small with the battle group, you can do, or you can go slightly higher and you can go for the command starter set. But then if you just mix the two together, you've got yourself even more stuff. Because I think it's like 30 points in the command starter set, which is enough for you to be playing your basic games anyway.
Yeah.
And then throw Roscoe and the rest of them in there, and you've suddenly expanded exponentially. So
and I mean, an important note,
and then push up the skirmish after.
An important note though. So the 2 jacks from the first set, the little battle group, you can pick those up separately if you want to do a little bit more mixing and matching in.
Yes,
which is it's one of those things. Fine tuning those lists in Warmachine was always one of the big fun parts of it. And then having alternate heads and weapon options and stuff, which I'm sure you're going to be fit to magnetize. Just it really expands your ability to play about with stuff.
Just put the magnets in the right way. That's the
that's a note for John. he may have done goofed on Decador.
It's all fine.
That's why you require a magnetization thingy. I have a knife that has a magnet in the base of it.
There you go.
And anytime I'm doing magnetization, you stick the magnet to that and push them all in to the body first.
I mean, I just sharpie one end of the stick, and whatever side that's on always goes out the way.
Can do. It works just as well as long as you've got a system. The only thing to watch out for is sometimes some of the bodies are so narrow that you'll find that alternative magnets may repel. So before you start slapping glue down, double check that, because the last thing you want is for a body to be so narrow that it flips the polarity, or that it pushes the magnet out.
Mm-hmm.
So they can be a little bit more problematic than you want, especially if you're using massive magnets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the key thing is, if you know what way you're wanting to build it, you don't even have to use the magnets. You can just go, no, I'm not going to magnetize. I know which jack I like. I know which one I want to play. I'm just going to go with that.
For the extra resin arms, they're all getting used.
Oh, fair. That is completely freely your choice, sir.
Yeah.
It's one way to do it. Right. Let's take a little pause from the news and push on with the most important part of the week. It is, of course, our indie of the week.
Yay.
And this week, our indie is so indie, it's tiny.
What? Does it actually exist?
It does exist. I think you'll see in the show notes, it exists.
It just says yes.
Yes.
So our indie of the week is yes, I like indies.
What could be yes, I like the band Yes.
That's true. Yeah.
Everybody likes prog rock and multiple keyboards. But no, this indie is so tiny it's Mammoth.
Okay.
Mammoth Miniatures.
Oh my lordy.
Okay, we got some old school stuff going on.
Ooh.
So
tanks, super tiny tanks.
We'll start with the games.
Okay.
They have a few different games. These super tiny ones are particularly fun. Currently, so much fun that people have bought them all out. But if you are looking for a quick beer and pretzel style game, a game that you could even play in the pub, then Super Tiny Tanks, Super Tiny Skirmish, and Super Tiny Sorcery have you covered.
Cool.
They, as they say, they are A7 games. So they're about, slightly bigger than a regular card.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost beer mat sized.
Everything in there is, you've got some odd beer mats, mate. It's too thin.
I said almost.
Everything is in there to play, bar some form of measuring implement.
Yeah.
You do get two little tiny dice along with your little tiny tanks or your little tiny skirmishing barbarian types or your little tiny sorcerer types. Hopefully they'll be back in stock soon. They're just great little stocking filler type games come Christmas or just something to play around with. I particularly like the descriptions, so I'm going to scroll down.
Yeah.
It's an expansion for Super Tiny Skirmish that adds fiendish magic and mysticism to your games of pub table combat.
Love it immediately.
8-page micro booklet, all the stuff, new ways to beat the crap out of each other. This is a pocket-sized game with 2 paper miniatures and 2 micro dice. So, they've not got a huge amount of complicated rules. It is something you can play post a game when you're in pub, or play on the table while you're waiting on your friend arriving who's running late. Designed to fit into a pocket, wallet, pencil case, or well-sized bodily orifice. This little stocking stuffer comes with 2 dice, 2 cut-out miniatures. Mammoth Miniatures accepts no responsibility for dice or rulebooks stuck in bodily orifices.
Oh, you beautiful, beautiful people! That was
amazing.
Wonderful.
I love it.
It's
Hello,
a delightful thing.
Here, Ben,
this one will also fit in a pint glass.
Ben, I have an idea for you. See, next time you take the missus out for a romantic dinner, just while you're waiting for your food, whip this out.
Don't produce
the
it from
fancy
your prison
restaurant.
pocket.
Yeah.
That would be a bad thing. The other game that they're known for, and one that you had a look at 5 or 6 years ago or something, the first edition was Planet 28.
Love this game. Yeah.
So this is the second edition. So
I have that.
It's been out for a little while now.
Yeah.
Refined, updated, made more colourful. You've got your copy behind you somewhere, have you?
Mm-hmm.
So for people who are aware of Inquisitor, which then spawned Inquisimunda, or you've got the actual shiny second.
I do.
Look at you go, Mr. Man. Maybe this is an indie you should be talking about if I'd let you know in advance.
Trust him to keep up to date with it.
Yep.
No, it's great. It's awesome.
Yeah. So Inquisitor 28 obviously is very popular with a certain group of people for the narrative storytelling. Planet 28 strips away a lot of that very simple rule set, allowing you to sort of get in and have a plow around in a very narrative gothic sci-fi, which is really nice. I particularly like the style they have.
The artwork's amazing.
Yeah, it's all pen and ink cross-hatched sort of stuff. So much so that there was one original piece of art available on this website, by the way, if people do like that. If somebody's looking for a present later on in the year, look at that. I mean, look at the chiaroscuro shading on that, boy.
The thing,
cross-hatching.
They added in, so like the core of the game, you can kind of do like solo cooperative, you can do like versus stuff as well, which is really nice with it. But they've also added in for the second edition the vehicle module, I believe.
Yes.
That was separate from the game to begin with. I mean, the vehicles don't like add a massive amount of things, but they kind of they sort of twist up your scenarios a little bit more, so you can take them in different directions and things. But to know it's a really fun little system, really, really well done. So
the
interesting.
The campaign and game master rules and the like are part and parcel of that. So if you are playing with a group, you can sort of weave all of that in together, which is really nice. And there is a expansion or a thing that tacks onto it still. So you've got the Death in the Throne Room setting, violence and intrigue in galactic high society.
There you go.
So,
of course.
Yep. So it's a cool little. It can almost be game master driven, which I think is a really nice little touch of that one, which is really good. And it comes with like the artwork in it. It's gorgeous. But it's a setting effect because you can use this for anything. So you could use it for 40k, but if you want to put it in their universe, you've obviously got all their kind of like dramatis personae and all that kind of thing thrown into the mix. Yeah, a bit more background and all that kind of stuff as well. So
I mean, there are so many like space opera worlds out there that you can play about, and just grab your favorite Audible one, listen to it, then use that as a backdrop to write something up for this.
They even did some really nice like paper standees and things. That was part of the Kickstarter project, I think. But
nice.
Yeah, one of those things. If you run into them in like an event or something, they might have some of those stuff. That stuff like that. But
it's nice if that was a download. Salute then, because I believe they're going to be
there. We go.
Excellent.
Yeah.
But if you wanted the original artwork for that front cover, you're shit out of luck because they've sold that.
Oh.
However, because they're the court punk, but the Knight and the Imp.
Ooh, that's interesting.
That's the original artboard that he did. So it's it's not print; it is the one-off artwork, and I love his art style. If anybody's aware of Mr. Fitzpatrick, who does a lot of Celtic Irish stuff, which is all line drawing, but then others with vivid, bright colors behind it. He's got that style of art. It's all intricate line detail work. And it's absolutely gorgeous.
The touch of Ian Miller to it as well.
Yeah.
Which is always nice.
Anyway,
I'm almost getting like tarot card vibes off it.
If anybody wants that, it's only 50 quid actually. It's A4.
And Jerry buys it.
Yeah.
I think I might actually. That might be sold out by the time people hit this. But in my defense, you've all had the opportunity that's been up for a while now. So
there you go. It's your own fault.
Apart from the games, Mammoth has some bits and pieces in the ways of miniatures. He does a publishing thing similar to Ramshackle, where people can get their sculpted miniatures produced, and you can see them down the side here. Banhaus, Ryan, Atlaser, Lazare, Chob, and Wilhelm. Any of the published stuff, 65% of the profits from the sales go back to the creator. Oh. So it's a nice way of getting bits and pieces in here, beyond the sort of the usual. Some of these will be obviously because they're terrain is in there, but then these pieces come from I think Wilhelm, but they're particularly funky, especially for anybody who wants to do a bit of Cthulhu-esque, cyclopean nonsense coming at you.
Giving me Idols of Torment vibes as well. You could
Idols of Torment is, I mean, certainly the next bits we'll look at from Wilhelm are definitely Idols of Tormenty. But if you want just giant heads to be, go full Ozymandias, find a pair of legs in the desert style.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting some Wheel of Time vibes from the Ruined City.
Yes.
Ooh, those faces are cool. You could do like fire inside those, like little sort of like piles of coal or something. Well, if you wanted to try to take that route,
break out the ballast, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you stack those up for some pillars, you could do some really nice, like, dwarven style halls.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh,
That-
spooky dwarves.
I never thought of stacking. Stacking's a really good shout.
Big brain.
The verticality,
Yeah.
baby.
The Eldritch Runes I particularly like as well.
Oh, very nice.
Because again,
And
get that sort
itsy
of-
bitsy teeny weeny dude with a spear.
The tall hat does everything. So,
it's very Bronze Age hat.
yeah.
It's like a spinning top upside down. They're cracking. These, on the other hand, are absolute batshit insane. And I love them to bits.
They're glorious.
Because these are just, I mean,
The hole.
the hole is just, I don't want to know, but that has a ring of teeth around the hole.
Yeah,
That's
so
where you
it's-
saw your copies of Fantasy Skirmish or whatever.
That is one of the most frightening
Tank.
sphincters you'll ever come across.
See, I like the idea that you could have that and then switch it out for this if your players
Yeah.
get too close to it. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, you got too close to the hole. What do you mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hand of God.
The big, that's not right. It looks like, it's like, remember that bit in, what's the Schwarzenegger? Total Recall, when Benny, the taxi driver, is showing that he's actually mutant as well, and he unfolds just the
one
teeth
of
of
you.
fingers. Yeah. And then it turns out he was a complete scumbag.
Yes.
But it also turns out Quato was terrible as a psychic because he didn't realize that Benny was actually selling them all out. So
Yeah.
you're a
The
terrible,
grasping fingers.
terrible psychic.
I wonder if
and
they're
glad you're
modelled on
dead.
someone's actual fingers. Like they took casts of people's fingers and then
hope
modified them.
not.
I mean, Ben, that is a horrible workplace accident. Let's not
No,
go
no,
there.
that's it. I mean, obviously, someone's, well, hopefully, someone's
Different
handled
sized
it like that.
peoples. Just
But
start
yeah.
casting children and elderly people and Andre the
Oh,
Giant.
is it like one of those pot things where you can just like stick your hand in and pull it in a weird shape and then
Yeah.
recast
Hell
it?
of a split nail.
Yeah.
So yes,
You go around the office, you cast everybody's fingers, and then you mold them all together into these terrible, terrible creations. So.
horrible things. Yes.
Well, haven't you just technically give everyone who buys it your entire team's fingerprints?
Well, there you go. You can get to all the
The,
buildings now.
Secret ingredient is crime.
The rust goblins are a
That's
delight.
cool.
They've a very, remember, wasn't GW, somebody did a set of Chaos Dwarves that had that. It was Forge World. So it was technically GW.
Yeah.
Their Chaos Dwarves had a blank helmet featureless face that was sort of piped to the front. I like these little rust goblins for that sort of similar aesthetic,
Mhm.
Yeah.
especially when you look at, things like the War Chief. And I'm wondering, how many eyes do they have and where are they? Or have
Also-
they just been underground so long that they just developed?
We don't
sense
need
of
eyes
smell or
to
something.
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't need eye holes. We're all like moles. We're blind.
Yeah.
Although, for the love of God, don't shrug.
It's fine. I'm pretty sure those are probably non-movable pauldrons. They just sort of hang there and the arms wiggle underneath.
Mhm.
Maybe they've become entirely metal themselves. Oh, God.
The rustiest, like Justin's orcs.
Yeah.
Rusty skinned. I must apologise, Justin. You were correct.
It is an art style.
Orcs can be rusty.
They're really nice. I love
Yeah.
those. Very
I
old
mean,
school feel, which is always good to see.
They just have I know they say they're goblins, but really, how do we know what's under there?
Mm.
Mhm.
Could be 3 weasels. Yeah, everywhere. Wouldn't trust them.
Lovely stuff.
Beyond that, they have some other bits and bobs.
Skeletons look really nice as well.
Skelly
Oh,
bobs.
what's the
cute.
dachshund?
It's a dog.
Ooh.
Not that one's not a dog.
Might be a dog. You don't know.
The worm. Primeval dragon.
Yes.
This has very old school, like 80s movie vibes coming off of it. I love
Especially with the patterning on the back. Yeah.
it. Yeah, but you can imagine that's 3 guys in a rubber suit.
You don't think this would be a Harryhausen special?
Maybe,
stop motion.
maybe.
Yeah.
He's a chunky hunk of resin,
It really is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
possibly
Lovely
lighter than the old Great Spine Worm, which was lead. So that's
Killer
always
man.
good.
If you're killing someone with a miniature, the old metal otherworld giant.
Yes.
It's one way of doing it.
Basically a club. Yeah.
Armed with a club.
I love those.
Yeah,
Gorgeous.
really nice. If you want
They've
to
got-
replace your standees with tiny sorcery or skirmish, you can.
They've got a almost Seabor vibe to them as well.
Yeah.
In the style of armor and things. So if you wanted to kind of like mix and match, that would be a really nice touch. Especially with the helmet design, I think.
Yeah, although I think for painting these, I would want to go with like a really ethereal paint job, so make them look like the Ghost Army out of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that would work really nicely, actually. That would be really cool. Yeah. Maybe go in afterwards and do like a little bit of a touch up on their armor to give them a kind of like, again, like a rusty metallic thing, sort of like faded over the top. That could be cool.
Yeah, so as if the spirit's inhabiting the armor. That could be very cool.
Gorgeous stuff. Always nice to see it. Again, like as you mentioned earlier, this is like perfect for the kind of Inc. 28 28 mag community. I'm sure they've already devoured most of this already, I would imagine. But
and here we see a puritanical douchebag.
Do you like the Witchfinder? I like the fact he's got his handkerchief in his hand, which I assume has been covered in lavender or some other sweet-smelling thing that he can hold over his nose whenever he's walking through the shit where the peasants live.
Yeah, or checking in on prisoners, deciding which one to burn.
Very nice.
That's true. You know, the sickly, sweet smell of burnt flesh. You need something to cover your mouth and nose.
I always like seeing stuff like this because it gives you an idea for like really stark painting choices.
Oh, yes.
So you could maybe look at that, and I mean, obviously you could paint him in kind of like the dark, well, blacks and whites as you would have found like a Witchfinder general from back in the day. But I love the idea of doing him in like really poppy, vivid red with very pale skin or something, and give him almost like I guess like a Frank Miller-esque look to him. I think could be really cool. I think you could do some really nice stuff with that. Give him that almost kind of like inquisitorial feel as well if he was in the red. Oh,
that's a horrific bog monster.
Everybody loves the deep ones.
See, here's the thing. Each and every one of these sculpts, you instantly feel the narrative just coming off it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. You're starting to think about how they could fit into scenarios and all sorts of things.
Well, clearly these are your dumb goon brutes.
Yes.
Set to guard that your heroes get to sneak past by tricking them with a very simple riddle.
Those shields are crying out for some cool old school designs, you know, like big laughing suns or something.
Big evil sun, is.
Yeah.
It's definitely a way to go. They are chunky boys.
Lovely.
Mewtwo's gunslinger as well.
You can check if someone's going to come and try and stab him in the back, which is always helpful. So,
I mean, he's very good at sweeping and clearing.
Yes.
I mean, I would almost do a little conversion to this one, put a melee in the other hand, because one brother likes to shoot, the other likes to fight.
Oh, that would be cool.
Arguing.
The duality of it, yeah. He kind of reminds me, who is Cal Jericho's pal?
Oh, Scabs?
Yeah, like Scabs, but if he accidentally got slightly more mutated. And Cal Jericho just left him to himself.
It's how things go.
Yeah.
Ooh, the crab monster looks kind of cool.
Push on and have a look at the sci-fi vehicles in a moment, because I know you're crying out for it. The follower.
I asked once. I'm
creepy
happy
little follower.
Yeah.
And
Fear Fiola.
Yes. Again, he's not right, but he's got a gun.
Yeah. And he unfortunately had to take on the Fallout 4 foot replacement.
Oh, well, I mean, it's not the worst elephant foot you can find in a post-apocalyptic world. True.
No, this is fair. Oh, yes, that's horrific.
We like
Crab
crabs.
boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why you wear protection.
Who was the...
no.
Was he just called the pilot?
The pilot
Farscape.
from Farscape. Yeah.
See, it also reminds me of watching through Resident Alien.
Oh, yeah, the Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, and he has the two tiny little arms that just fold into the body. Giant rat.
Yeah, we need capybara.
Capybara.
Which you have to build him like a little hot tub.
He's going to cap your bara.
Gangster pig.
See,
well,
that's
good to do that. So
get a few of those. They're your perfect moving objective in a post-apocalyptic world. What do we eat? Capybara.
Yeah.
You're hunting dinner, and they're just trying to scarper away from you.
Yeah.
There he is.
Oh.
Could I find him? Could I hack his like?
No, imagine this is where I was thinking about, like, with the bright reds and then the dark, the like pale colors. sort of twinned together. Very nice. Gives off Trench Crusade vibes as well.
It's Trench Crusade meets Pyramid Head.
Yeah.
Also, some form of Repentia.
That sword is redonkulous. But it can't be that.
Can have blood dripping out of the eye holes. Yeah. Very nice. Gives blasphemous vibes as well with that kind of stuff. Lovely jubbly.
Yeah. Old school, like Hellraiser style painting on that would look good.
Thunder Lizard.
Everybody loves thunder lizards. Rar.
Cool.
This one I like a little less.
Could have
raring, or is it because he's got the Daisy Ridley overbite?
I mean, the lizard kind of has a little bit of a dirt face, unfortunately. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Cool.
This I like the idea of. It's just so whimsical.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, you could paint that in a slightly different style, and that could be. Oh my god! Imagine that in Quar.
Yeah, maybe
that'd be a good slot for Quar.
But even if you're wanting to do something like a bit Monty Python,
yeah,
Tractor-esque,
yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
They can only move in straight lines.
Red green color blindness, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dairy be my right. Get me to the sci-fi.
Yeah, should we have a look at this
one? I want to have a nosy ass. Because there's a really nice set of. Well, need to open that as well, I suppose.
Yes, the dash.
Thank you kindly. It looks very interesting.
These.
Oh my god! I immediately love these, and I'm already looking at the small images. Wow!
So these are Chobes stuff. Oh, they are not right.
Yeah, very Borderlands Psycho-esque.
Yeah. Or
That's
what did Grievous's kids do?
Oh, there's also a horrible movie for it.
Yeah, there is an awful movie. Oh my god!
Grievous, I can't remember what Grievous' race is, but yes,
yeah,
they have a similar.
They have that their alien faces have that vibe to them, don't they? Because he kind of just masks that.
What his mask is based on.
Yeah. Oh man, and then the cool gas mask on the leader.
Yeah, well up for those.
They're also like thin Vogons.
They come armed with more than poetry, though.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know. I think careful. These are some poor assholes who have to go in and clean up a toxic waste spill.
Yeah.
The only one who gets a gas mask is the leader. Everyone else can just breathe it.
You imagine they talking like that, sort of like garbled, can't quite hear it radio speak, like that kind of thing, or like the Tannoy announcements on the tube, that kind of thing.
Like what Tambor?
Yeah,
the Techno Union. Dial in there, tuning every time.
Yes. Again, as Justin was saying, you immediately start thinking about how these could fit into scenarios and
the narrative that you would play with them.
Yeah,
wow. Which is key.
Oh yes, dashund.
Oh yes,
you have to deal with the dazzle pattern there. Can't tell direction and speed of movement.
Dazzle. Yeah.
Sorry, John knows how. John knows how. But no, if you had a few of these just acting as like sentry turrets, just walking around an objective,
that'd be a good idea.
Anything gets too close or into line of sight gets shot.
I like them. They're chunky monkeys.
Yeah.
We had to deal with something very similar in a game of Deep Space RPG recently. In fact, weirdly, it was a ghost astronaut. So if you imagine that's what people were seeing, but it was actually a hollow field surrounding this.
That's an idea. I like that.
It was filth, Julian. Absolute filth. I don't know how we survived, but I'm glad we did.
Cool.
But yeah. So some weird and wacky stuff. Like I say, they have various designers get bits and pieces made by them as well. So
very nice. I mean,
if you fancy doing a bit of your own sculpting, it might be worth checking out.
Yeah, very
or
true.
If you're interested in his Planet 28 or the tiny stuff, he does have an open license. So if you want to sculpt for it, you'll find the open license on this website as well.
Awesome.
If you feel the sudden urge to
purge.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe somebody wants to make the punk from the front cover.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'd buy that in a heartbeat.
That would be doable.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mammoth with their tiny games. It's very good.
Buy it.
Yes, Ben approved. Jerry recommended and Ben approved.
You'll just get a sticker slapped on the front with Ben's face going.
Make those. Right. Enough of this. I think it's time for some more news.
Even more news, bitches.
Okay, we're back with more news. As the man says.
More news that's fit to print.
All of that and so much more. Who said print media was dead? This is a magazine, right?
I'm just going to hold up a newspaper and flick through it on camera now.
I'll just
do the old BBC voice tonight on the BBC.
We don't allow regional accents. But enough of that. What's going on in the world of Warhammer?
So, actually, some stuff that would probably be quite fitting for Planet 28 we were just looking at, to be honest. But yes, a new expansion has been announced for Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team. This came out over the weekend as part of their Warhammer Open Day. The new set is called Blood and Zeal, and it features two appropriately zealous warbands who are going to be fighting it out in the same locations that we've been seeing pursued as part of the recent edition of Kill Team. This kind of just adds to the fighting in these urban landscapes. As part of the two warbands, you have the Sanctifiers and the Goremongers. So fighting for the Imperium and the Ecclesiarchy, we have these fellows here, the Sanctifiers, as you can see. A little bit kind of like inquisitorial, sort of like Kill Team vibes to them, as well as obviously throwing their lot in with the church. They are led by the Confessor that you see at the front there, where if things go badly, the macing will continue.
Bless me, Father, for I have thwack.
Yeah.
Kerenov, the Arch-Confessor from the old Sisters of Battle.
Yes, very true, actually. And within that set as well, you've also got a Cherub that you can see at the back there, the Conflagrator, a couple of Missionaries, a Death Cult Assassin, as you can see at the front there with the twin blades, the Drill Abbot, who's the fellow on the far right, in many more ways than one. The Persecutor, the Salvationist, the Reliquant, and the Miracleist. The Miracleist at the front on the left there.
Yeah, I swear these nails in my hands don't hurt.
I see. Zealot with an Eviscerator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So some really nice kits in there for you to start building up for use in your Kill Team games. Lots of individual styled combatants that will have their own skills and things that you'll be able to bring to the tabletop. As I said, very nice kit if you wanted to pick this up separately later on down the line alongside the Inquisitorial Agents Kill Team that they did, because you could mix and match a lot of the stuff from both of those to create just your own fun set of 40k miniatures, or for, as I said, the likes of Planet 28 or Inc 28 and everything else in between, because all of these would very easily fit to the character profiles and classes and things that you could get from Inquisitor back in the day. So,
I mean,
you're
nice. Not a million miles away from getting half a Redemptionist squad for
exactly
that as well.
Very true. Yeah.
I thought you said we're going to say that chainsaw can make you half a Redemptionist.
Well, that's true.
You can't have that many of them, unfortunately. Well, you can, but they're pricey.
He would cut through the bureaucracy of the Imperial system, but then I don't think they take too kindly to that. So
I mean, going out to feed the needy by turning the needy into corpse starch.
Exactly. Yeah. With the Grey Knights on the horizon, when it comes to Warhammer 40,000, this isn't also too far away from something if you wanted to kind of play around with the Imperial Agent side of things, maybe mix in some Grey Knights alongside that and build yourself a kind of classic old school 40k army from a couple of editions ago, rather than, might not necessarily work very well on the tabletop, but who cares? You've made a cool looking army, man. So there we go. On the other side of this, we also have the Goremongers, who are there to shed blood and take names, and they're all out of names. So this is a set that is led by the Blood Herald that you see at the front there, and they are backed up by the Impaler, the Skull Claimer, the Stalker.
Quickly do something.
Go for it. Yes.
They did fade out the bases a bit on him at the back.
Yeah, there you go.
It's really noticeable on this one.
It really is actually. Yeah.
I don't know who's done this. It looks like some Photoshop job that I would do. going. It's seamless. You can hardly notice I've added this figure in. I've added myself to the Liverpool Champions League winning side in Istanbul type of thing. That is balls. Whoever did
so
that.
you can see the Scotch tape, I'm guessing, Jerry.
Jesus, never do this again. Go back to putting white miniatures on white backgrounds. It was better. I mean, you couldn't see anything, but it was less stark. Anyway,
don't even start. I've near went blind a few times cutting miniatures like that out.
Anyway, Ben.
Yes, so there's also the Inciter, the Blood Taker, and a couple of aspirants in there as well. Now, the thing with these guys is that they are, quote unquote, semi-reliable,
right,
to Khorne, because whilst most of their agents, we'll give them that title, would just love to like kill people and take their skulls and shed as much blood as possible. These guys actually have a modicum of tactical sense, which is hence why they've been introduced as a kill team, so they can sort of do some work behind enemy lines. In saying that, they are slightly deranged in that they have cut off their lower limbs and replaced them all with bionics, as you can see there.
Yeah.
Just more flensing tools, really, to be honest. So,
we all seen how fast Pistorius was.
Yeah.
I mean, for the look of them, they know they're going over rough ground. So, you know, being able to run along the girders, I think.
Sounds like a good idea.
Tactical choice.
Tactical choice, yeah. They are all kind of pumped up by the corrupted blood that you will have seen in the, I can't remember what they're called now, the Khorne cultists.
Yeah, the ones who had vats of it going straight into them, like venom for
very much
Joker.
So. They've got that vibe still going on with jackals. That's what they're called. It's a jackal. They've got that vibe going on with these guys as well here. So if you're looking for a couple of Zealous warbands to throw onto the tabletop, you've got a couple of options there as part of this this expansion. There is also a new terrain piece as well that you can pick up. Although I can't remember if this has existed previously, potentially, or it's just been refactored.
It looks familiar.
Yeah.
That's only because everybody did a conversion of St. Celestine to give her wings.
Oh, there you go.
That's why it looks familiar.
Yeah.
Everybody and their dog did this to the models every time they came out. It's like, cloak and a jetpack, you say? No. Wings, I say.
Wings all the way. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Proper saint.
Yeah. And she's standing atop a massive pile of skulls. Well, so clearly a Khorne worshipper.
Yep. Lloyd's going to love the plinth.
So
love the plinth. So
that statue isn't in the warband set, or all three.
So that comes in the set. So the set comes with the 2 warbands, the 2 kill teams, and that statue, which will have its own terrain rules when you're using it in the game. Anyway, it'll have some aura effect. But you'll have to then pick up the separate kill team Vulcus set, I think it's called, in order to get the urban environments. Although if you're already playing kill team anyway, you probably have this stuff lying around. So,
but no, an interesting one if you and a mate are looking to dive in for your first taste of it, or if you're looking to expand into more.
Yeah, and as I said as well before, those sets will be available separately in the future as well. So if you're somebody who's just looking to get those miniatures, regardless of using them in kill team, they'll be available in the future as well. So worth checking out. Yeah.
Right, another pre-order, this time coming from Warlord Games from Pike and Shot. They are entering feudal Japan. So Pike and Shot is I'm not going to say it's overlooked, but people tend to focus on the Hail Caesar an awful lot, and the Black Powder to a greater extent, and then slap bang in the middle are the poor buggers with Pike Shot and not much else going on for them. So it's nice to see that this is sort of getting a bit of a push this time round with the Samurai. So up for pre-order now, available at the end of March. The Wars of the Samurai is if you want to play through the sort of Sengoku and later period. So 16th, 17th century. The book will contain everything you need, from faction lists to adaptations for the actual Pike and Shot rules, along with the potted history if you're not up to date with feudal Japan and the wars fought therein. So it's obviously a fun period to play in. There was a lot going on, not just on the island of Japan itself, but they did get out and about in this period, which we'll come to in a little bit when we take a look at one of the other miniatures. But yeah, obviously beautiful book, full color throughout. If you're planning on picking up some samurai, there's some cracking figures out there. There's also a couple of miniatures coming alongside this as well. So if you get the book from Walad, you can pick yourself up Yasuki, who may or may not have been a samurai. Discuss. I look forward to the comments below. So he arrived with some Jesuit missionaries.
Yeah.
The emperor, shogun, was so taken by him that they couldn't believe he wasn't just coloured in. It's not just tattoo ink. So much so that they scrubbed his skin to make sure it didn't come off. He was then given a part of Oda's retinue. So might have been a samurai. However, when Nobunda died, he didn't kill himself like all of the rest of his samurai retainers and was allowed to leave, which sounds like he was more of a PR piece. Discuss.
Probably.
It goes back and forth as to whether or not he was technically actually a samurai or if he was just a feature of the course.
He's in the new Assassin's Creed game as well. So
they throw him in a lot.
I am looking forward to that. Yeah. I will say the paint job they've done on this is pretty interesting, seeing how they've painted the dreadlocks and the hairline.
Oh, you had to give it the patterning.
Yeah,
to give it that texturing. Very interestingly done.
Yeah.
Not something I'll be doing. Not for the likes of me. But interesting character to have, nevertheless. However, the other miniature that's available, the spectacular attacking Tomi Hideyoshi, I believe.
Yes.
He's a much more interesting character because he was a peasant who essentially worked his way up through the ranks. There was talk he could have become the shogun himself, but the fact that he was low birth was the reason he wasn't nominated. However, he was responsible for the invasion of Korea. So if you want to do that period with the Japanese fighting the Joseon Koreans, then he's dead on for that, and he's an absolutely spanking gorgeous miniature.
Very flash.
Yeah,
also served under Nobunaga as well.
Yeah, I think he's limited edition in that he's
one of the soldiers of fortune.
Yeah, so he's only going to be available for a certain amount of time before he vanishes. But definitely want to take a look at if you're keen on that period, or if you're just keen on being up a samurai. They've got some fantastic looking outfits.
It does seem like an interesting period of history and section of history to go looking into.
Yeah, I mean, everybody likes samurai. They look fantastic. And in a period where
they have cool fight scenes.
Everybody in Europe was dressing in the same dull duff coats. And, it's very, everything's shades of yellow and brown. It's not particularly flash or interesting. Swap over to the Far East, and all of a sudden, this riot of color is going on there with the various clans attempting to sort of impose their superiority and take the ruling houses.
Considering there's so much stuff available in 28mm as well, even if you're not playing. Well, if you have an existing collection, that could be a great starting point for Pike and Shot anyway. But then all of that could be merged together because historical is historical, so you could use it for everything. So Pike and Shot, Ronin, Test of Honor, all these games, Clash of Cthulhu.
And lest we forget, there's a whole range of grand battle scale samurai now, and Pike and Shot can be played at any scale. So you can just get your hands on some lovely 10mm plastic Ashigaru samurai, and there's a command set coming out, and just play epic clan battles.
Be perfect.
In 10mm, which is probably what I would suggest. Because 12 guys or 24 guys running across the table, not really a regiment, is it? However, blocks of dozens/hundreds.
All the drums going,
absolutely.
Flags flying.
Fantastic.
Yeah. That and your table build would probably look really gorgeous just for that area of the world.
Tom Hanks running, not Tom Hanks.
No,
Tom Cruise running across the table.
This is not the terminal.
Add your solo little American Civil War uniformed Big Yin in there as well. That's for sure. I mean, it's what we all want to see.
Yeah.
So if you're after that, keep your eye out. Should be shipping by the end of the month. So
cool.
Get your hands on some feudalistic Japanese pike, and off you tot.
Super cool.
Right, sticking with historics, we have one more bit of news, and one of the Hicks clones has been sculpting some more stuff.
Yeah, so Paul Hicks, who you'll know from Empress Miniatures, has decided to take a little bit of a peek at the Germans who were fighting in and around Arnhem. So Arnhem, as we know, if you've seen A Bridge Too Far, this is an invasion that could have very easily been dubbed Montgomery's Folly because of how badly it went for the Allies. But he is focusing in on doing some really nice German officers. Now, the important thing for these is the sculpts are actually based off of pictures from history. So these guys are based off real people, so real things they would have been doing for their posing, what they would have been armed with and wearing. So really, really nice. And as always, Paul does just gorgeous, clean sculpts. I love them.
The character work is phenomenal. Again,
well, if you see the expressions he's catching in the faces, you know, the one guy standing with the binos just being all stoic, another one down at a radio going, "Get the air support, please." We also have some riflemen in the mix as well, so in a various set of poses. I do quite like them as well. Again, the accuracy that he goes for on these is the real telling thing, and that's what I really like about it.
A couple of them rocking the camo smocks as well.
Yeah. Interestingly, it's one of those things. Was one of the huge differences for the German forces was they had full units who were armed with like submachine guns. So, you know, you look at, say, an American or a
as
British
many as full
force,
action would lead you to believe.
This is fair, but it's an interesting shift, shall we say, in the tactics of the time. Because normally you're expecting, okay, you've got your rifleman squad, they're laying suppressing fire with, you know, maybe an attached light machine gun or something. And then, I mean, imagine if you're in a rifle squad and you run up against everybody else on the opposing side has a machine gun. I mean, how terrifying is that?
Well,
that's
I mean,
why the assaults are deadly.
If you run up against them and they've got submachine guns, you just sit back and pick them off from range.
You could get caught with your pants down pretty quick. But again, beautiful, sharp sculpts that just have so much character to them. And obviously we have machine gun teams. So one moving up to position, the other in position. I just love the work that Paul does.
Hitler's
He's just a great sculptor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very nice stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really nice complement to obviously what Empress has already done. So they obviously brought out all of the Arnhem Heroes range with the British, and then of course you had the Polish done as part of the. Well, that was mostly
Arnhem
part of the second set, wasn't it? Yeah. And now, I mean, Hicks had always said that he was going to come back and do the other side of that particular battle offensive, and we're seeing the start of that here as well, which is really nice.
But I mean, playing through this for some campaign games would be interesting. Just seeing you know, those airborne forces slowly running out of resources while the Germans are only getting stronger. I think at the end, I was reading somewhere it was like 3-1 against the Allies.
Wow.
And that's just like, yeah, no, we have failed this mission. Reboot.
Yeah.
I'll be fascinated to see what all goes in. Because obviously with the first campaign, they did a comprehensive amount of stuff.
Yeah.
The second campaign expanded on it significantly, but by the end of it, it was sort of absolutely brimming full. But
I mean, you would expect no less from the man.
I can't imagine we'll see much in the way of vehicles on the first round, maybe. Obviously, they did have significant, whereas the British Airborne were rather more restricted in there. But being able to get some of the historical commanders down onto the field from Tetten? Von Tetten was the camp commander. That would be interesting. The work he does is great, so you can always put together a decent force without a lot of repetition in there.
And you know, a lot of them will be veterans if you're playing it historically, because they came from that breakout at Normandy. That was them reforming.
The 10th. But if you ever go looking on the internet for pictures of the Germans at Arnhem, there's some really nice, just obviously posed for the cameras, Germans, drinking bottles of wine and stuff like that.
Propaganda.
And I'm thinking of, in the same way, you had the British Power with the umbrella.
Hopefully we see some of those.
Because the one in the bridge too far is a lie. It's not it's a conflagration of two different British officers put together. So he's got a false name, and it always baffles me. Anyway, but yes, I'd like to see some of the staged German shots as well, because I think that would be really interesting, unique, just to have.
They're really nice for vignettes and
exactly, and just to be a bit different from, because they're
collector's pieces.
There's not a huge amount of different. They are a German force, so having something that you can hang it on and go, these were from Arnhem, and here's a picture of these guys either marching to the front or taking British prisoners or whatever. Those shots where you see them in situ and then be able to see the sculpted miniature alongside it. I know he's done things like that in the past where he's matched characters or photos to sculpt. So more of that, please, would be absolutely spanking.
So watch out for the Kickstarter, because, well, I mean, I'm sure when it's live, we'll probably stop for a look in just to see how buku bananas it goes.
But junkers. Right. That's all of our news. We'll have a quick special when we come back. We'll wrap up the show with a couple of Kickstarters.
Did you win one of our prizes? Find out on our prize claim center over at OnTableTop.com. Here we list all our previous prizes and those who have won. If you see your username, fill out the form to claim your prize. All prizes must be claimed within 30 days.
Okay, our first Kickstarter is a Hicks-based piece of majesty for all your map making and memories that you want on your tabletop. I'm a fan of alliteration.
I was about to call you out on that one.
So, Lorescape is the Kickstarter from Lorefoundry, and this is a whole slew of plastic hex-based tiles that you can use to build maps or adapt maps, build a world, whatever way, shape, or form you want to go. So the game itself, or not the game, the tiles themselves come in two flavors. You've got a sort of a tactical and a combat. So the tactical is sort of 10 mil. As you can see here, you can build a actual tabletop.
They should probably get out of that building. I think it's on fire.
I will say, I love just how crappy they made their initial terrain look. Just like, how shit can we make this look?
I've played on things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. I've played on felt hills and felt rivers. But if you want to push it to the next level, then this obviously has a lot of stuff going for it, not least of which, as you can see from that cavern, the interlocking sections mean you can actually have caverns, bridges, sections. Things over the top, and they will hold together. There are these little clip systems that you can attach to your base that allow you to actually place pieces on top without having to worry about the wobble, because they are beveled in a certain way that means their interlocking capacity is slightly less than an inch. The tiles themselves are 1 inch hexed. I was going to say squared, but they're not squares. So they have a range of biomes, as you can see there, that you can pick up, from grasslands to oceanic or mountainous regions. And within the tiles themselves, there's a really nice degree of patternation, is the phrase I'm going to use. So you have really nice texture on the actual individual tiles themselves. Grasslands, you still have little bits of tufts. It's not a flat color across the board. And then within the actual pieces themselves, you can also have things like tracks and streams, rivers, forests, both light and dense forests as well. So depending on what you're planning on laying out, there's plenty of scope within it. Obviously, the various types can be used to supplement each other. So if you want to put together an entire map, if you're playing a map-based campaign, I know Ben and myself were mentioning Forbidden Lands from Free League, which is a hex crawler.
Proper hex crawlers, yeah.
You can build that up, and they are relatively rigid within themselves. So, I mean, you can't keep it together in between game sessions. I'd be thinking a pegboard and some golf tees and just pop it on the wall. But you may want to keep it somewhere slightly safer than that.
I do like the idea that whoever's like running your game could have like unexplored sections held off table that they then just bring in and link into everything as you move up to them.
Yeah.
Uncovering the map as you go, fog of war.
Yeah, you get like a little fog of war.
Yeah, it's very doable with it because of the way it's designed. It's incredibly sturdy. As you can see there with the BattleTech, they've just laid down their tiles to change the paper mats into a more three-dimensional representation of it. I, on the other hand, stuck a ton of tiles together to make a full BattleTech map because it amused me. Now, I will say,
do it all the way.
Full BattleTech map is 22 by 18, which is about 300 odd, 390-ish tiles. So, if you are looking to go absolutely ham and build something like that with the different sets they have available, you'll need to pick up something like the Adventurer set, who's got 300 tiles in there, or potentially 2. If you want to go 100% hex-based
what's
tiles.
their biggest pledge?
The biggest pledge is absolutely enormous. It's like 1,200 tiles.
Oh, wow.
Map master for the train connoisseur who wants to build everything. 1,200 tiles, which is going to give you everything and all the rest.
You would never want for tiles again, I don't think.
They had initially had a more flat structured tile 4 or 5 years ago when they were starting to play around with this. It's been sort of tweaked and changed to make something more substantial. And I know they have a little tiny hammer, which reminds me of that game where you've got to try and keep your penguin up while you knock out the ice blocks. I have just gone ahead and pushed them out with my finger, and that works. So I built the map and I went, you know what?
But the pickaxe is cool.
The pickaxe is great. I'm sure for kids who want to like tap things out, just go ahead.
I mean, if you're trying to get something out of the middle of like a flat area, that's...
Yeah, I just pushed them out with my finger and then replaced them with the tiles I wanted.
Okay.
100% what I did. There's
embrace the whimsy.
I'm not breaking any whimsy. I'm just saying you can, and there's no reason not to. But yeah, the tactical set is probably the one that I would have more fun with for map building or gameplay. If you are one of those people who want to do some skirmish or RPGs in an incorrect way, you can obviously do it with the combat set, which is internal caverns and taverns and the like. So larger prints that you can fight out your individual combat rounds on in a hex-based way. But it's absolutely cracking stuff, and incredibly robust as well. At least I've not had any problems with the interlocking pieces, which I think is one of the things they've been working on for a while to make sure that it works particularly well. So being able to pick up your individual tiles, pop them together, stack them up, lever bits out and rework it however way, shape or form you want without having to worry about damage occurring on the interlocking pieces is very important. And the mechanical fit is really, really good on the... Well, we've got prototypes, obviously, because this isn't due to be delivered until this time next year. Might be earlier. Look at them with their tiny pickaxe. They're not even pushing it through or tapping it out. They're levering it up. Oh, just push your finger.
Okay.
It's the way to do it.
Well, here's an idea for you, Jerry.
Yes.
So you see those combat skill ones?
Yes.
Yeah. So take and lay one of those out for a nice big tavern.
Yeah.
And just do a tavern brawl 1v1. So instead of blood on the sands, it's blood in my beer.
Can do. There's no reason not to. But yeah, there's a variety of ways you can pick the stuff up. So as you can see, you can mix and match with individual biomes, or there are sets that will allow you to combine various parts. So you can pick up a whole grasslands, or you can pick up something that will move from grasslands to beach to water, deserts, rocks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go for a full style. If you want to have a ton of forestries and the like, you can get those as well. They also have the little stackable boxes, which are MDF.
Which are a really nice little touch, I think.
Nice.
And they have been smashing through stretch goals.
But it's a good way to pack and store your stuff as well.
It is.
Because they all come in little slide-out drawers.
I will remind people as well, by the way, that the Adventure Deluxe pledge that we just saw there is the actual prize for this episode as well. So if you are a backer, as Jerry was saying earlier in the show, if you're a backer of Lorescape, you could win your pledge. So just got a comment over on OTT and you could win it. Just make sure you put, I'm a backer of Lorescape, otherwise we won't find you.
Put your backer number in as well. That'll make my life easier.
Also helpful. But so a nifty little bonus there. So, as we're talking about an optimal one to go for, that Adventurer Deluxe one's pretty nice.
Yeah.
But
it's really fascinating how they've managed to engineer it.
Yes.
Because generally anytime I've had hex tiles in the past, you're either setting them alongside and then hoping nobody nudges the table, or you've got magnets in certain places. The interlocking system on it is great.
Yeah, having a proper mechanical fit on it.
And being able to go in and grab bits and pieces is fantastic. Like I say, it's a cracking set of stuff. You'll see it in the not too distant future on a Let's Play with me and Shay and some BattleTech. And they've absolutely hammered through. I mean, they were funded, funded in a quarter of an hour, so a lot of people were waiting for this one coming because they've been showing it off at UKG, and I think
I remember their business card was actually just a little set of the tiles to play with.
I have them underneath the table in a little wallet. So,
so
I will say, I really like they're doing the blank set as well. So if you are a wargamer who wants to like do some flocking and all that kind of thing and build up some interesting designs, you can also go down that route as well, which I think is a really nice touch. But I think for a lot of for a lot of role players, this is going to be like a wonderful little set. I think.
Yes.
See, the other thing with the blank set, Ben, is you can actually use those as miniature bases.
Oh, if you're using
it with the system, because then your miniature will just lock into everything.
I see what you did there, Justin. Oh my god,
big brain.
It's one way of doing it. I mean, they do have the clip already.
They do.
Yeah, but if you're wanting to do like a specific set of miniatures for this, why not use the blank one as your base and actually do some flocking and painting work on it?
It's so thick. Can you hear that? That's Lloyd having a heart attack at the plinth-like base. You're suggesting
almost like a print.
If you want to see more, people have done some reviews on them. Including
Felicia Day is their brand ambassador.
That lady from Guild.
So,
Yeah.
She basically, apparently she just asked, "Can I be your brand ambassador?" And they were like, "Well, of course, duh."
That's an instant yes.
Yeah.
And there's our video.
I think it's
from UKG.
Absolutely cracking set of stuff, specifically for map-based campaigns.
Yes,
I think that's a good way to do it. A lot of free league stuff for fantasy, not just Forbidden, but
would be perfect.
Lord of the Rings is also hex-based.
It is. God damn it, Jerry.
Yep.
You said the magic words.
Yep.
What if Lord of the Rings?
That's the best way to do it, I feel. Absolutely banging through stretch goals at the moment, and there's 4 weeks left on it. So I imagine they will run out of stretch goals before they reach the end, and just leave it at that. But even with things like the ability to add 3D terrain on top of it is coming for some of the stretches. So it'll be fascinating to see what else they have in mind for it. But I think even just as a base product, it's a really, really solid bit of kit.
It's going to be a great addition to the industry.
Definitely.
Right. Going to go for a bit more old school. Benjamin,
we are.
With a little bit of fantasy.
So Red Bar Games are back. We love looking at what they do. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. If you are a fan of Old Hammer and miniatures designed to fit the aesthetic of the 80s and the 90s, then you're definitely going to go and want to come and check this one out. This is their Undead Hordes campaign. So they've done ogres, They've done, was it orcs and goblins last time, or was it dwarves last time? I can't remember what it was.
I think it was the orcs last time.
Was
Look
it
at
orcs
that.
last time? Yeah.
I see Fugu.
Yeah, I see me some Fugu.
But now they have turned their attention towards the undead. So there is a really nice selection of 3D printed resin miniatures. I should say these are physical; they're not STL files, but they are 3D printed by the team at Red Guard. And yes, they are like proper old school. Now, the interesting thing about these ones as well is they could easily have just gone for like cookie cutter stuff. So it's just like a champion and then a whole bunch of just the same miniature in a rank and whatever. All of the stuff in their different sets for both the riders and the zombies are all unique sculpts. So you can create some really awesome looking regiments with all individual characters to them. It obviously means if you're going to be going down the skirmish route as well, you've got the benefit of having lots of individual styled sculpts going in for that one too. So there's, I think it's a set of 10 undead riders. You've obviously got the command elements in there as well, which is really nice, which is a very good selection of stuff split across the 2 different sets. You could use them all as individual skeleton champions. You could use them as your white cavalry, or you could sort of level them up if you wanted to. Well, that would be the top level, I guess. Or you could use them as your bog standard skeleton cavalry if you want to go down that route as well. My favorite set, though, I think is the zombies.
Yeah.
I think the zombies are phenomenal. I love that even in death, the Baroness or whoever still probably has some modicum of command over her subjects.
Makes sense.
She's just giving you fish face.
Yeah. So you've got another glorious selection there, which I think is like 20 zombies in that set, and all of them again are unique sculpts, which is wonderful. So of course, as you're mixing and matching those as a regiment, it's going to look like a proper shambling horde of peasants, which I think is a really nice touch. And then of course you could almost double that up if you wanted to. And it would feel like you still had 2 unique entire regiments on the tabletop, which I think is a great little touch. Obviously great for skirmish games as well. So if you were going to be playing something like Rangers Shadow Deep and you wanted to add some of the zombies in for the early scenarios in that game, these would be a really nice shoe-in for that. Again, with that kind of classic look to them as well, these would be absolutely perfect for use in sort of like Mordheim if you wanted to go down that route and pick up some of the older miniatures. The Piece de Resistance, however, probably the Lich King on the Zombie Dragon, which kind of draws from those kind of classic images of sort of like undead lords, liches, you know, that kind of vibe, you know, Henrik Kemmler, Krell, all that kind of thing. Bring all those together, bring all the boys to the yard and have some fun with the Zombie Dragon. I really like that his like magic wand staff there is done in that classic style with the Batwing skull at the top. And then the really, really thick like stave underneath it as well, which is just so reminiscent of those sort of old miniatures. And then when you look at the Zombie Dragon itself, like from the one side, it looks like a perfectly normal dragon, and the other side, you've got like
half skull.
eye. Yeah, it's really cool.
I will say, even for like an older style of sculpting, the sculpts themselves are still pretty razor sharp.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful.
That's because he does most of it in CAD.
Yeah,
because I backed the ogres. They were sweet like candy, and they're CAD designed and then 3D printed.
Yeah,
so they look like they've just stepped out of a metal cast forge somewhere.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing with the 3D printing. You're essentially getting a master miniature,
pretty much. Yeah, and then the special miniature for this particular Kickstarter was the white standard bearer. So. Again, going back to that idea of having like really cool champions.
Very restrained on the horns compared to the actual GW's white standard bearer. For all day, the horns were substantially bigger than the model.
Yeah.
What? Tilt to one side and you fall over?
That's how they made sure that he didn't get out of his barrow because his horns were too wide.
It's like a dog with a stick trying to go through a gate.
Yeah. The campaign has also been exceptionally well funded already. I think there's 10 days left on this when you're watching it, but stretch got wise, a whole bunch of new bits and pieces have been added in. So you've got the likes of the ogre zombie with the hole in it from a cannon. Yeah. And the manticore riding.
That head on that manticore is great.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Gorgeous.
I love it.
I always love.
Straight out of a 90s cartoon.
Yes, very much so. I always love skeleton musicians because you're like, how it play, but
he's got no lips.
This guy's got no lips, and he's a bagpiper.
He's a bagpiper.
So imagine the kind of weird screech that comes out of that. Or no, nothing at all, maybe. That would be eerie enough, I suppose. But
So, if you want to make it more realistic, you can always convert it into an alien pipe instead.
True, yeah.
I see. Here's the thing, Ben. The chest cavity is empty, so there's a bellows in there.
Ah, I see. He's actually in his entirety an instrument. I see what you're doing there. The Banshee is very reminiscent of the classic Warhammer metal one that a lot of people would have picked up back in the day. You know, the sort of lady floating forward with the hair flowing behind her. Very nice touch.
Still got one in my Undead army somewhere.
And those awesome ravening wolves. Yes, they were. Absolute oh my god. The amount of times my units would just do nothing because she was nearby. Yeah. And then you've got your ravening wolves there, which is a nice touch alongside vampires and all sorts of things. So they have not skimped when it comes to the Von Carsteins.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Lloyd's going to love this because very few batwings on the shields.
Yeah.
It's all right, plenty of batwings elsewhere.
Yes, but appropriately used.
And more to come in the future as the campaign continues to power through. I'm sure anything that they don't cover as part of this one, they'll come back and do in Undead Hordes 2 or something probably.
We'll say when my ogres arrived, I got random free stuff that was beyond the free stuff that was unlocked. It was like,
free stuff is great.
I
love free stuff.
Bonus.
Here's a treasure chest you can use as an objective, and here's some coloured banners and stuff. Yes.
Jerry, you never need to buy objectives again. You have the penultimate ones, or the ultimate ones.
Yeah, but only for post-apocalyptic. There's no use for this game. They are cracking.
But yeah. So it's another really nice selection of old Hammer themed stuff from Red Bard. They're going from strength to strength, and I'm sure they will get round to your faction of choice, whatever it might be in the future.
Always got the Fugu barrows as well. Yeah,
they've done dwarves, orcs, ogres, undead.
I want to see them do Ratman.
I'm sure that'll be on the cards.
That's one I want to see from these guys to see how it turns out.
Classic Doom wheels covered in red and green.
Screaming bells. Screaming bells everywhere.
Yeah. Lovely stuff.
All right.
And with Old World as big as it is, perfect opportunity to dive in. There you go.
I keep forgetting it exists because they're so slow at releasing stuff. And nobody buys it.
That is.
Well, we just got the High Elves.
So, yeah. Old Hammer's the way to go. Stick with Old Hammer. Go and join the Crown of Command podcast, Discord, and stuff.
Good idea.
And just
go play some Ninth Age.
Just go and rub around in the Old Hammer skill. Because bearing in mind, these days you would need like 150 of those cavalry to form an army for something. Whereas Old Hammer, what you've seen there is an army.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
No need to go absolutely ham with the amount of figures on the table. Compact to
10 figures to a regiment was a classic.
10 figures to a regiment, that's insane. 8 for a
That's too big almost.
Yeah. 4 will make your rank.
4 swordsmen running towards you.
Give me Ratman. Blocks of 40.
Right, enough of that. Also funded, and there is 10 days left, so go nuts with it. Right, that wraps us up for another week.
Yep.
We shall return next Friday for more of the same, or on Sunday for the XLBS over at OnTableTop.com with our cultists, where we go a bit hobby ham. While you're over there, don't forget to comment on the video below if you are a backer for Lorescape, and you might get that pledge. All right, until then, have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.